Do now is we're going to draw the actual, we're going to just do the given. You guys know how to draw a hexagon, hopefully by now, otherwise you should probably run away. Okay, like far away. Okay, so let's get the hexagon in, reflex action. This will be everyone's reflex action. Open your compass to 30, keep it there. Okay, let's open it up to 30. Okay, radius is equal to the length of one side, on which all 4 points are inscribed. 6 points, excuse me. This is a hexagon. Well done, Mick. Okay. Find the axis in which lines up with 2 points, and that'll be the vertical. So that'll going to be a point over there. That's going to be a point over there. And then 30. 30. Yes, I'm drawing the hexagon. Because they give us this S as the starting point. It's the middle of the hexagonal pipe from the top view. So now I can go in. Huh? I don't know I don't know. I don't know the examiner that well. Yeah?
What shapes do you need to know how to draw?
Any kind of prism. Can you draw a hexagonal prism like this? Can you do a triangular prism?
It won't be a cylinder, so.
Huh?
It will be a cylinder.
A cylinder. I'm not giving you a cylinder, but I can't tell you what else. Next year you'll probably get a cylinder. Definitely got to practice cylinders for. Yeah. Well, it's 30. It's a radius. Guys, a pentagon. It's 72 degrees. It's 70. I'll do a little tutorial before you go. Okay. It's very chill. Okay, so right. I need to set up the. I need to set up a triangle. Okay. It's got a side of 56. So I'm going to start my auxiliary somewhere. So I didn't give you the distance how far out. I think it was an amendment. So guys, let's work with, should we work with 15 here? Yeah, let's go with 15. So I'm going to come out with 15. I didn't give it to you there, so that's fine. So we'll come out 15 millimeters. There it is. And then I'm just going to draw a line there because we know. Okay, I'm going to draw a line over here as well because I'm going to start my auxiliary out here. Well, I'm giving you 15 because I haven't put it in silly. Yeah. Okay, this is your exam. I think I gave you the. Sorry. Yeah, I'll put it. Okay, so now have a look here. So we'll make that 15. So I've come out 15. Now I'm going to draw this auxiliary because I can't do anything without the auxiliary. If it's 56 one side, that means if that's one length, one edge or one side, we split that in half. We've got 25, what? 28 and 28, eh? So I'm going to go 28 above, 28 below, using my.
So you're going to make.
Yeah, I'll stop here. Once I've done the auxiliary, I'll stop. Okay, there's that. And then we know. Sorry. Yeah. And then we should meet with the. Wait, hold on a second. Yeah. With our 60 degree.
Was that just 56?
Yeah, 56. I started with 56 along the center line, and here we go. So that's my auxiliary. How I'll do this is I'm gonna call that 1, 2 at the bottom, 3.
How do you get 2 again? How do you get the point again?
That point is 60 degrees. So that is 60 or 30 depending on how you want to measure it. Okay. So now I can go ahead obviously and get that using that 1, and as I project it across from there I can create the what we call it termination point, and I'm going to explain that right now. Okay, I'm going to leave it there and do that again. Okay. So every point or corner, if you like, or edge, right, that comes into contact with the surface of this main, or what we call here the pipe, hexagonal pipe, those are termination points. So this is termination point 1, okay? This is termination point 2, and this will be termination point 3. Everyone happy with that? Now, so we do this, okay? We found the termination points, then we found the turning points. The turning points will belong to any corner that you see by the main pipe is a turning point. And I'm going to call that X, for the sake of this video, and I'm going to call that y, and then I'm going to pull those across. Now you've got, this is your reflex action, this has got to kick in. I found my turning points and I project them to my auxiliary. So I take x, and x is going to intersect there and over there. Y is going to intersect there, and it's going to intersect there. In other words, the faces on this are going to turn. So it's going to turn at those 2 points. The material will turn around the object. So I will call that x there. That's x at the top, that's x at the bottom, that's going to be y at the top and y at the bottom, and you'll see why I say bottom and top in a moment. What we need to now do is create the front view. Okay, and that's pretty simple. You can leave a margin of about 20. Not going to be too sticky about how big the margin is that you leave, but so I'm going to go up there, leave that margin available for myself. Right. 10 to the axis, another 10 to the margin, and okay, I'll start there. Now I can project my hexagonal pipe up, the main pipe. Okay, the total height is 75. So I'm going to stop at 75. This is all in construction. I'm not committing to anything dark yet until I've made sure I've found my curve of penetration. Okay, so there's 75. Here it is. Okay. Now we need to position ourselves a new auxiliary at the top here. Okay, so it doesn't really matter where you start as long as you're 15 from the top. So if I come 15 off the top here, the page is a bit stuck here. If I come 15 off the top, there it is, and I project that across, that'll obviously be the top of the triangular duct. Okay. I'm just going to start it there, okay, and I'll run that out at 30, and you can go about this however you wish. Hold on a second. How do you know? Say that again, please. Good question. So we could, in other words, how do we know to correspond to the one to the top? How do we make them? Okay, we'll look at that now. Okay, so what you need to do now is have a look at the front view, okay, and look how it's positioned. So in other words, this edge here is going to belong to that there, okay, so you got that at the bottom, which means there's a point at the bottom. You see that? Okay, and now next year, what they will do in Matric or when you in A block is if you need more information, they'll give you a side view here as well. So they'll give you a side view so that you can it just helps you a little bit more. I did one now. Earlier with the A blocker, and it is so much information that you get given, it's actually lekker. You can't go wrong. So in other words, if we look at this, obviously we're going to have it's 1 and 3 at the top, so you can label it however. It's 1 and 3 at the top and 2 at the bottom. Everyone happy with that? And then immediately what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to go place. Watch here. I'm going to place my auxiliaries. My turning points. So I'm going to take x and 1. X from 1 or x, so that's there. I'm going to go to 1, and that's x. As long as you go, whatever you do here, you do from the same point at the top. Does it make sense? So you can arc all the way out from 3 there towards 1. It's up to you. As long as it's whatever you do here, you do at the top. And I'll show you now. Generally, this is the case. If I take 3 and y, which is pretty much exactly the same because we've got symmetry. It is the same. You can see how 1 is directly below the other one. So instead of me arcing again, all I need to do is just drop a line straight down. Okay. And on most occasions, this is going to be what you will have. Okay. So that's x at the top, x at the bottom, y at the y at the top, y at the bottom. Okay. I can then start to just send this across, and I can bring in the front edge here of that triangle. Okay, now we just got to go plot points, so it's fairly straightforward. We're going to start with, I'm going to use some yellow. Let's gather the points or the termination points first, and then we will go and we'll gather the turning points afterwards. And then we're going to stop for a moment, and we're going to consider what might be hidden and what might not be hidden according to the spatial reasoning that we have when we look at this orthographic projection. So remember, the front view is going to be in that direction. That's what we're looking at there. So we're going to start with 1. Okay? So we're going to place 1. If I take 1 up, do you agree that 1 comes across from there and intersects over there, yes? Okay, so I bring 1 across. It's going to intersect there. Now here's the thing. I'm getting sneaky with these. Gentlemen, in an exam, show your full construction method. And I'll tell you why. If you mess this up and you get it too small, okay, and I put my memo on top of it, and it's out of proportion, but you've sent a what? And 1 from here lines up with 1 from there. Is your drawing technique correct? Yeah. But it's according to your own question, essentially, that you've just set yourself in the exam. I give you a mark. I take a -1 for proportion. Okay. Happy? Okay, or take 1 for construction, maybe. -1 for construction. Okay, so that to me, that's going to be number 1 there. Okay. Then I'm going to do the next termination point, which is 2. So I'm going to send 2 up. Okay. And I'm going to bring 2 across. And there it is there. So I bring it across. There it is there. So that's 2. Are we all good there, guys? Just stop me if I'm going too fast. Okay.
3 is also at the back.
And then 3 is going to be along the same line and also at the. So 1 and 3 should be exactly the same. Okay. So 1, I'll put there 1 or 3-1.
So
yes.
Can we can we label points on our
Absolutely. What I would do is, literally, I would do it like this. I would go, if I was going to do it so that you don't have too much information, next year you're going to have a bunch of lines, especially if you get a cylinder, and you just do a little like this, just 1, like that, and a little 2, as long as you can see it, and you know, you with me, yeah, and then, so that's nice, because then when you start to plot your curve, you just go with progression. You don't have to then look the whole time. You don't want to be doing this, okay, 1 and 1, you found it already, and you're going 1 and 1, okay, then the next one I've got to go to 2, then you draw your line, then you go, no, just plot them, and then you can rather just look here to see whether it's hidden or not, then you can. Okay, so we got 1, 2, and 3. The next thing we have to do is go plot what? So we've plotted the termination points. We need to go plot the turning points in the front view. The turning points I'm going to use, I'll use yellow again. Right, so we're going to go X. So we can see that the turning points are going to be along this edge here. So we're going to have where? X over there at the top. X at the top here. X and Y at the top, and then X and Y at the bottom over there. Okay. Is everyone happy? So the only points we actually have to join, or going to have to join, is there. We've got those points to join, and we need to work out how we do that, and we'll do that by working ourselves around the object. Everyone happy? Okay, so let's do this. Okay, I'm going to start at 1. I'm going to do it in, we can use a ruler because there's no cylindrical objects here. Okay, so we can use a ruler. So I'm going to do it in red. I'm going to
there's no cylinders in B block.
Actually, let me know, not necessarily, but yeah, you shouldn't get cylinders in B block. If they're tested today, that's metric. That's a metric thing, okay. So, right, so now we're going to go from 1. Right, and we're going to follow the progression. We're going to go from 1 to 2. Okay, but here's the thing. If I leave 1 and I start going towards 2, what do I come up with? X. So then I've got to include X. So before I go to 1, I've got to do X at the bottom. Now the question to you guys is, gentlemen, if I was to look at this object, look here. So look at the eye. If I was to stand here, imagine there's a person on the deck here. Okay, whatever. Arms, and he's looking at this object. Agree or disagree that I won't see that face? 1 is to 2. I won't see that face, correct. So that's how you have to imagine. That's the reasoning, the spatial reasoning you have to come up with, is that I will not see 1 and 2, that face. It's around the back. Okay, cool. Everyone happy with that? So in other words, it's around there. Okay, it's around there. Okay, so that means that if I start with 1 and I go towards X, my convention is going to be what? Solid, chain, or hidden? Hidden. Okay, broken lines. So I'm going to go from 1 first to where? X at the bottom. So I go from 1 to X, and I'm going to do that. And here's the thing, we're probably going to go over this. Yeah, let's just plot it though. It's nice for you to see the course. Okay, so we're going to go from X to 1 to X, and then from X we're going to go to 2, and that would also be what? Essentially, would be hidden detail. Okay, Yeah, and I know you know, and I know we all know that we're going to go over this again, and it's going to be solid, but that's fine. So I've done 1, I've gone from X, I've gone to 2. I'm now going to go, and I'm going to see this, correct? Look, it's open to the eye. So from 2 to Y is going to be? From 2 to Y at the bottom. So look, we've gone there. Where have we gone? We've gone there, there, and we're coming up to what's seen. 2 to Y is going to be seen.
Same way though.
Yeah, same way. So then obviously what am I going to do? Now I'm going to do it as? So I'm going over that line. It's because it's perfect what? Symmetry. Okay. Then from 2, so I've done 2 to Y, and then from Y I go to 3 again. We're going to overlap on that line. Okay. And then from 3, we're going to go from 3 all the way to Y. And that's also going to be? Yeah. And where do we stop this? We go all the way to the? Yeah. From there to all the way to the front edge of that triangular duct. Okay. And the triangular duct stops there. Penetrates at the bottom in line with that face. Bang. We spot on. Now I can go and add the outlines to my prism, because I know exactly where those start and end. Okay, here we go.
So do you think in tomorrow's exam is the hardest section?
I don't know. Here it is. So there it is, done. Okay, in this particular one, they want you to develop where are we? Develop the triangular duct. So they want this to be developed. So immediately your reflex action is, where do I find the true widths? Which are very simple. The auxiliaries. These give you the true widths or lengths of each side. Okay, each face. Everyone happy? And we know that to be what? 50? 56. Are we good? Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to come along the bottom here, gents. I don't think I'm going to do it up here. Let's do the hexagonal one up here. Okay, so this one here, okay, let's cook smart here. Sorry? You want to do both of them? Yeah, okay. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to start here. I'm going to create like a little axis. So I'm going to do a little x-axis here, if you like, and a little y-axis down the bottom. So if you can complete that with me, okay. So what you could do, obviously, you could swing this around and then project across as well. But I'm going to do it very manually, just so that you can see the process. Sorry. So that you can see the process. So there it is. I've got a little x-axis and a y-axis, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to manipulate this. You've got a maximum sort of displacement, if you like, of the highest point, and that's what we're going to do. So we get the widths or lengths here, gentlemen. Look here. For this triangular duct, we get the width. It depends on how you say it. The width or length of each face we see here, okay, and then the heights we see over here. See, this will give us true length in terms of the height. I don't know if that's the best way we can describe it. Okay, so what I'll do here is I'm going to take the heights of each of these. So I'll get the maximum, which is going to be that height. Do you agree? It doesn't get any longer than that. Does it make sense? There's no point longer than that for the secondary or for the duct. So I'm going to go up my x-axis, and I'm going to plot that as my highest point. Okay? And then what I'll do is I'll just quickly send it across. Okay? Now, yes, you can use more orthographic projection by swinging these around and pulling all these down, but another day. It's the longest seam. It's always the longest seam or longest edge of the duct. Everyone happy? Okay, good. So now we're going to plot how many do we have? 1, 2, and 3. So if we develop and fold this out, gentlemen, we're going to need 3 faces. And how big are they? 56. Instead of me measuring, I'm going to go and grab the total length of 56, and I'm going to go and give myself 3 different segments. There it is. Okay. And here all I need to do is, and I'll just create those little auxiliaries. Well, I'm going to have to draw these seams in, but what I'll do is I'll do them in light first, because we don't know where they're going to be cut or how they're going to be. There we go. Okay. Happy? Okay, cool. So you can decide where you want to start this. I am videoing it so you can watch it later. You can decide where you're going to start this. I'm going to start it at 1, then go to 2, then go to 3, and then go back to 1. Is everyone happy with that? Okay, so the total height of 1 we've got here. Do you agree? Okay, so this is going to be 1, that's going to be 2, that's going to be 3, and then we're going back to 1 over here. Okay, now we've got to then go and establish the lengths or the widths between. So let me ask this question again. Remember when we follow this progression, what do we have before we get from seam to seam? We have what? We have the turning points. So we need to establish where the turning points are going to be. And so it's quite simple. If I start at 1 and I go towards 2, there's the distance of my turning point. So 1 to x. Okay. Funny enough, that distance is going to be the same as 3 to what? Y. So I go to 3 and I come back towards 2. So 3 towards 2 is the same distance. 3 to y, so I'm going to go there. So I'll call that x and I'll call that y. And then, between 3 and 1, exactly. So from 1 towards 3, so look here, I've got x there. So 1 towards 3, right? I have x there. Right, and from 3 towards 1, I have y. So from 3 towards 1, okay, I have y. So that's going to be x, and that's going to be y. And what I'll do there again is I'm going to create my little construction, little seams here. Okay? Because now I've got all the references in order to go and establish the heights. It's so chilled. Okay. So we know 1. In other words, guys, I can commit that 1. Do you agree? 1 is going to be that height. We said yes, eh? That is the maximum height or the maximum length of a seam. 3 is the same, right? But let's follow the progression. What's the next, gents? It's what? X. How do we find the length of x? The total length of x? Quite simple. It's the same as what? 2 to the... So that there is your length. That there is your length. In an exam, you can actually just project these all to one side and then just use one edge to establish your length. So I'm going to do the following. It goes, x is that length. So I go x there. Okay. And x is the same length, correct? And y is the same length at all points. Am I right? Okay, so x is the same length over there. Doesn't change because of symmetry. Y doesn't change at either point. Okay. And we know that 3 is how long? It's the same as the maximum what? Maximum height. Okay, so look what I do. I'm going to quite simply go join. Before we do this, I haven't established which one? 2. And 2 is exactly the same as x and y. It's exactly the same. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to add 2. And there I go. And we just... There. Go 3. Remember we said 3 was the maximum. Come back to y. Across to x. And then back up to 1. And there we have it. Okay, and then all the way across. And that's the development of the triangular duck. Right, and now we'll do, quickly as a practice, we will do the hexagonal duck. Now, but can I just suggest this? In an exam, I would only ask you to do this, so I'm going to only project it. I'm only going to develop. If I was to ask you to develop this hexagon, is there any point in? Okay, let's call that face A. Let's call that B, C, D, E, and F. Would there be any purpose in me? Watch out. Would there be any purpose in asking you guys to develop these 3 surfaces here? No, because nothing penetrates them. So in an exam, I would possibly say, develop surfaces A, B, and C of the hexagonal prism. Okay. We're going to develop this surface. Okay. And we're going to develop the surfaces of A, B, and C, the surfaces or faces that get penetrated, okay, by the triangular duct. Now, we've got the height, so we're just going to pull the height across here. Okay, obviously I've got a lot of annotations going on at the moment, so we're going to draw over them. It's okay. And I'll start it halfway through my auxiliary. There. Okay. What is the length of one side? 30. Okay. So I'm just going to take 30, which I'm going to borrow from the actual drawing space. I'm going to take that 30, and we need to do A, B, and C. Okay. So there's A, there's face B, and face C. And I'll just do the exact same thing, and I'll project those up just to give me those faces that I need. And some baby powder for this drawing. It's looking dirty. Okay, so that will be panel A. We can go either way, really. It's just going to have, I'll just flip, the marker will just flip the transparency over. Okay, so we're going to go A, B, and C. Probably should have gone anti-clockwise to make it.
I reckon the examiner probably would prefer to give us the secondary one, which is the choice.
Yeah, I don't even know what the examiner prefer.
Well, I'll just do a very close up.
Sometimes we forget each other, and one forgets what the other one did. Can't remember anymore. Yeah, but we're practicing both, so doesn't matter what the examiner does it really? No. Cool. Okay, gents. So here we go. A, B, and C. Happy? Okay, gentlemen. Where are we going to find the points of contact? Oh, sorry, the heights. Okay. We're going to find the heights by pulling it across from the what? Just hold on a sec. Okay. Would you agree that that seam is X? Okay, good. Well, when I say X, it's a turning point. Would you agree that that is Y and that's a turning point? So X, watch straight away. Look here. If I take X at the top, X at the top and Y at the top, X at the bottom, Y at the bottom. Do you see that? Does everyone make sense of how that progresses itself around the shape, how we face to face? Yeah. Okay, so now we've got X at the top, Y at the top, X at the bottom, Y at the bottom. Okay. Then, 2 is another interesting one, because 2 sits between what? X and Y. So, so I take the distance, because this is true. This is true because it's against the ground line, it's against the horizontal plane. So I can trust it, then I take it there, and then I just project that up. Or I could have just, divided that in half, it would have been just the same thing. Okay. So I send that up, and that's going to be 2. Okay. So this is 1, that's 2, and that's where? Termination point 3 is not going to be there. I'm lying. Why am I cooking? I'm not cooking. I'm doing the opposite. That was terrible. Look here. Look what I've forgotten. Look at that distance. Check the distance from A towards 1. See that? Which is going to be exact symmetry from C's outer point towards 3. Does it make sense, guys? Do you see see what I nearly missed there? So that is going to be 1, and that is going to be 3. Okay. Cool. So now what I'll do, like we always do, is we just create an auxiliary seam so we can go find the heights along those. So let's bring 1 across. 1 is going to be over there, so we bring the height of 1 across. It's already gone across enough. So there it is there. We take 3 across. Where's 3? 3 is over there, so we're going to pull 3 all the way across to intersect its corresponding turning point projection. So that's 3. We said 1 is over there. That's X. Am I correct? X at the top, X at the bottom, Y at the top, Y at the bottom. The only other point we need to now go find is what? 2. So if we project 2 across to intersect 2, there it is. And you can see that what we've got is like an upside down ninja star kind of vibe, eh? So all of these are going to be what? Straight. There. Okay? Then we're going to go from 3 to y. And if you're worried about the progression here, you can just follow it around. Okay? And then we're going to go down to 2. Then back up to x. And then back up to 1. And then you can go draw in the seams in a darker projected as an outline. And then 2, yes, 2 will be down at the bottom. Okay. Okay. No, you don't. Guys, you can. Yeah, it's good. It's common. It's good practice to call this your development. Oopsie.
Would you say development of secondary?
No, you can just say development. That's fine. Okay. That's it, guys. Excuse my tardy writing. But that's the development of both surfaces. So most important thing is you remember termination points and turning points, that one and which object they belong to, and remember that your turning points must be intersected somewhere on your auxiliary. Okay, and then projected up, and it must match what you do here must correspond accordingly at the top. Okay, in your auxiliaries. Lekker.